Hi, my name is Asatsu5, and this is a video over my opinion on throwing knives as a weapon for self-defense. And really it comes down to this. To me, there's two different kinds of throwing knives. There's the shuriken, which is more or less throwing darts, the throwing stars, these small throwing knives, which all shuriken means is hand-released blade. So you can throw an axe and call it a shuriken, but you know, far as I'm concerned, when I refer to shuriken, I'm referring to these smaller knives, which this is an Ontario ice pick. And I first started throwing these. I started throwing some cheaper throwing knives, but they had a really bad ricochet effect, so I kind of stopped throwing those, and I started throwing these ice picks for practice. And I really started throwing knives so I can learn how to hunt with throwing knives, you know, like rabbits and squirrels and that kind of stuff. And that was kind of my goal, is to be able to pick out small game with a ice pick or a small throwing knife such as this right here. But as far as the Japanese were concerned, the throwing knife, or the shuriken, if you will, wasn't really a knockout punch. What it was designed to do was to close the opponent's eyes, or to maneuver him in such a way that you can get close enough to him to cut him down. You'll grab a throwing dart like this, and you'll throw it, and they'll either try to avoid it or they'll get stuck. Either way, they're going to be distracted for a split second, and that gives you enough time to cut them down. And that was what these were really used for, which I say is a pretty good use. If you need to close the distance, why not throw a knife? But as far as the knockout punch, these aren't going to do much. You can kill someone with them, but it's not likely. Now, if you had something more like a throwing Bowie knife, this isn't necessarily a throwing Bowie, but it's a cheap knife that I've thrown. It has considerably more weight to it, has a bigger blade, especially if it has, you know, a blade over 3 inches, so you can get that mandatory 3-inch penetration. I could say yes, a throwing knife can and most likely will kill someone if you throw it and hit them right. But at the same time, if in a self-defense situation, if all you have is one knife, do you really want to throw it? So I guess what I'm saying is, I'll never rule anything out in a self-defense situation, because the more options you have, the better off you are. But science has proven that you can close the distance with a knife versus a man with a gun if you're 15 feet away. They've proven that you can close that distance pretty quickly. And if you have more than one knife, if you carry multiple knives, if you have your fighting knife and then you have a small neck knife, why not chunk the neck knife to buy you an extra split second to ensure your closure or your closing. But overall, I would say that throwing knives is probably not the best idea, because most people don't carry 3 or 4 knives on them, or even 2 knives on them. I carry at least 2 knives on me on a daily basis, and I've thought about throwing to closing distance, and I've said, well, I could see that happening. But overall, I'd say that throwing knives is probably not the best idea for self-defense. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? Not so much, but yes. But you're probably better off hanging on to your only weapon, if it is your only weapon. I'm Asatsu5. This is my opinion on throwing knives. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm out.